It's no secret that the NBA has changed, for better or for worse, and this 2023-24 NBA season has seen one of the highest team scoring averages in NBA history of over 114 points, second to only the 2022-23 season. Simultaneously, excluding the Wilt Chamberlain days, this season has seen the most 60-point games by individual players in NBA history, with a fairly deep list of NBA superstars surpassing the 60-point mark in a single game. So with that said, let's go over what happened during every 60-plus point performance in this historic season, starting with one of the most infamous games of the season. Welcome to Sportsphere. Let's get into it. On December 12th at Pfizer Forum in Milwaukee, the Bucks hosted the Pacers, seeing a display of a man among boys. The Pacers were known for being one of the high-scoring offenses and the highest conceding defenses, and Giannis sure capitalized on this. Giannis started the game strong, scoring a few easy layups and dunks early in the first.
The gaps on penetration.
Giannis makes it look so easy.
And by the end of the first quarter, he had already racked up 13 points.
Lays it down with the left hand.
Moving into the second quarter, Giannis continued to rack up points early, where he simply could not be stopped in the paint.
Giannis stays with it.
He ended the half with 21 points, leading the Bucks to a 70-63 lead at halftime. And going into the second half, you'd expect the Pacers to tighten things up defensively, but things went from bad to worse.
An easy dunk.
Seeing Giannis continue to dominate, drawing fouls and making free throws, while barely even shooting a jumper. Despite the dominance, the Pacers still held their own, and held on by a thread, conveniently keeping the Greek Freak in the game.
Big night here for Giannis as he plays bully ball.
I thought it was Steph.
Giannis straight away. Count the bucket. Giannis 9 of 11 from the free throw line. Hey,
To deal with him on the perimeter.
he's going to test him here. Shoulder shake. Giannis picks the pocket, and he's off and running for the lay-in on the rocks on the night. Giannis again right side. Count the pocket. He's on one tonight. What a night. Giannis going for 50. His back down spin move. He's got it. Post glass. 51 points.
Giannis and these starters out of there.
Gets the screen from Brook. Giannis in and out. Triple. Off the glass. Count it. A new career high.
After setting his new career high in points, by the closing stages of the fourth quarter, he had already surpassed the Bucks' previous single-game scoring record of 57 points, breaking Michael Redd's record in 2006.
History made! A new franchise record! Giannis Antetokounmpo!
Giannis's performance was historic, becoming the first player in NBA history to achieve the feat of making at least 20 field goals and 20 free throws in a single game while shooting over 70% on each. Additionally, he set a record for the most points scored in a game with fewer than 30 field goal attempts. Giannis finished the game with a remarkable 64 points, smoking his previous career high of 55 and achieving the franchise records in points in a game. The Bucks sought revenge with a 140-126 win over the Pacers, following a loss in the semifinals of the in-season tournament. However, despite the incredible performance from Giannis, unusual tensions arose after the game, involving the game ball that Giannis was determined to retrieve. However, the Pacers refused, leading to a confrontation as Antetokounmpo chased down a coach who took the ball to the locker room. A confrontation ensued in the tunnel as the Pacers refused to hand over the ball to Antetokounmpo regardless. Still an incredible display. And although seemingly a petty altercation after the game, you can understand Giannis's frustrations. From a monster display from a dominant big man to another around 2 months later, on January 22, 2024, Embiid would have a 60-point game himself, but this was not just a 60-point game. It was a 70-point buffet for the monster center. And this wasn't the only huge performance on this day in January. The 76ers faced the Spurs, and this performance from Embiid seemed to be motivated by an attempt to school an outstanding rookie, who goes by the name of Victor Wembanyama. And this was felt from the opening minute of the game, where Embiid's early dominance, highlighted by a 24-point first quarter, set the tone for the game.
Gets it again, Embiid up. KJ Martin in as well, Embiid. Korkmaz, no, another Embiid off. Second consecutive because of illness. Get well soon, Pat, we miss you. Embiid, baseline, three, Spurs are in.
Despite Wemby also playing good ball, Embiid's craftiness, power, and skill saw him do almost whatever he wanted in the paint, scoring countless dunks, also making close shots and converting free throws.
Up and over. Another offensive rebound by Embiid.
Come up with a formula for success.
After dropping a career-high 34 points in the first half, Joel's third quarter was another dominant display from beginning to end.
Embiid, a couple of fakes.
Long range, nice ducking.
Down to Joel, no good on the first try.
Oh.
No good on. Wembany on him. Embiid, minutes restriction. Maxey, 2-for-2.
Watch Joel here. Nice little drop step, pump fake, gets
Behind the back. Embiid, 52. Embiid. 56.
Embiid's previous career high was 59 points in a game, and Embiid sought to break this record, re-entering the game in the midway point of the fourth quarter before racking up multiple easy buckets en route to 70 points.
Joel Embiid, 65. 67.
6 minutes. That's literally just doing more.
He shattered Wilt Chamberlain's long-standing Philly record, set in 1967 with a layup in the final minutes.
Coast to coast for 70.
Embiid's shooting was on fire, going 24 of 41 from the field and sinking 21 of 23 free throws. He also grabbed 18 rebounds before securing a 133-123 victory over the Spurs. With a streak of 30-point games spanning 21 consecutive outings, Embiid's MVP-caliber play saw the 76ers reach a 6-game winning streak, while rookie Victor Wembanyama was taught a lesson despite a nice 33-point outing himself. While the Embiid-Wemby matchup was going on in Minnesota, the Wolves were hosting one of the bottom teams in the league. Almost right after tip-off, the Timberwolves' offensive beast got hot, and for the rest of the first quarter, he could barely miss.
Towns, money. Charlotte is Brandon Miller at 6'9". How about Towns?
We saw against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Towns.
5 more years, I'm all for it.
Towns for 3. Money is 20 points.
Cat ended the quarter with 22 points, including 4 of 4 from deep. The second quarter was much of the same story. Despite the Hornets not playing terribly, Cat simply was not cooling off, matching his 22 in the first with another 22 in the second.
Towns, no hesitation. Oh, he's firing from Duluth. RMN.org.
His hot streak would bring his halftime point total to 44 points. And with his star teammate Anthony Edwards having an off night, Cat could smell a big night by the half. However, the second half, greed and record hunting may have held the Wolves' big man back. However, it didn't go downhill quick, where Cat put up a decent third quarter. Determined to break records, Cat put up 10 shots in the fourth quarter, making just 2 of them. This saw Coach even take Cat out for a significant part of the final quarter due to his lackluster defense and poor attitude, as the Charlotte Hornets, led by Miller, Bridges, and Ball, outscored the Wolves 36-18 before clinching the victory by 3 points after Cat missed the opportunity to put the Wolves in front in the closing stages. In the postgame, the Wolves coach claimed, "It was an absolute disgusting performance of defense and immature basketball all through the game," while Cat says the loss did not feel very historic at all. But still, Cat set his new career high, breaking his previous record of 60 points, also setting the new franchise record. More importantly, I'm sure Cat learned a valuable lesson after his 62-point display, after point chasing and blowing a 15-point lead at the end of the third quarter. Regardless, the day was still very historic, with Embiid dropping 70 and Cat dropping 62 on the same day. After the historic night, 4 days later, a very similar scenario would occur, where 2 players achieved the feat of 60 points on the same day. And this time, it was Booker and Luka Doncic. What a father-son display. It began with the Indiana Pacers hosting the Phoenix Suns. And as mentioned previously, the Pacers were not the best defensive team, but they were also the highest scoring offense at the time. And like Giannis, D-Book would capitalize on this. And his hot night started early. His shot looked great early, barely missing a jumper, particularly finding his spots in the mid-range, and by the end of the first quarter, he would break his own total points in a quarter with an incredible 29 points.
A great drive to the basket. Quick move.
Book gets the contact, spins his way into the paint, working on Shepard with the turn.
4 and 5 last night with 2 steals to make things happen. Devin Booker.
The second quarter, D-Book was quieter, but still put his points on the board with 8 points, seeing him total 37 points by halftime. Booker is not unfamiliar with having big games, and it seemed he had more composure to focus on winning the game rather than stacking up individual stats. But there was still one issue. The Pacers were no joke. Booker got hot again, early in the third, making a combination of threes, layups, mid-range J's, and free throws.
Book gets to the elbow, trying to go bully ball. Goes glass, Coach Rick Carlisle, as we went to break. Allen with the screen, deep three coming for Booker. Booker crosses him up on the drive inside, using the
He ended the third with 51 before a final quarter that wasn't Phoenix's best. In the final quarter, the Pacers seemed to tighten things up with Booker, sending double teams. And although Booker still scored 11 in the last, Phoenix's scored just 17 in total. He ended the game going 22 of 37 from the field and 11 of 12 free throws, as the Indiana Pacers came out with a close, high-scoring victory by the game's end.
on the follow, no. Loose ball, topping inside, yes!
And despite having an opportunity to tie or win the game, Booker couldn't capitalize. But still, an incredible offensive display from Booker, making it his second highest scoring game in his career. But while the Suns vs. Pacers game was being played, there was a Slovenian freak putting on a show in Atlanta, and the ending was much sweeter than Phoenix's game. Against the team that traded him away on draft day, Luka Doncic would ball out in Atlanta before securing his spot as the highest scoring game for the season. Scoring from every level early, Luka Doncic got off to a hot start, scoring some easy and some not so easy buckets.
Sadiq Bey complete the group on the floor for Atlanta, but it's the Luka show right now.
He's had a pretty good feel on most of them this year.
Johnson up on Luka, down the lane, stopping, back to the
Finishing
basket.
the first with 18, Luka's second quarter was all the more impressive, barely missing a shot, getting to the basket as he wished, and hitting almost every step back three.
One on Jones. They took one away from him. I believe Holmes has it now. Luka, baseline. Yeah. He's trying to talk his way in. 30-piece.
First of two free throws.
Bring that physicality on offense as well.
36.
Shrink Charles Barkley, though.
Oh, down the lane.
Let the smooth taste fool you either.
Here is Luka off balance. Late decision to pass it to Williams. Back of the hands of Luka. A heave and a hit. You are getting it, and you are getting a show, a very memorable show.
Points, and everyone knew this was going to be a big one for him. Scoring 41 out of the 66 points, with the game tied up at the half. Although you'd think the Hawks would make defensive adjustments, this did not seem like it was on their mind. But not double-teaming Luka Magic may have been a huge mistake. The Hawks' defense seemed to have the same game plan going into the second, and Doncic quickly punished them. And in the mid-stages of the third, Luka went on another burst of elite offensive showcase and continued to barely miss a shot.
It's a double nickel right now. Luka has shot 3Ds perfect.
56 points is what Luka ended with in the third. And at this point, the Mavericks had one thing in mind: give their best player the ball at all cost.
It's the step back for a new Maverick record!
Atlanta fans are
And with
cheering
that shot,
like Mavericks.
he set a new Mavericks franchise record with 63 points. But keep in mind, there was still over 10 minutes in the game remaining, with a close game on display.
Luka in the paint, blocked by Lively!
Great block shot.
And now Dallas in transition. Luka inside.
And as the fourth quarter was coming to a close, the Hawks began double-teaming Doncic and fouling him. But it was just a little too late. The man was on fire.
Makes the shot and the free throw.
70 points. Luka splits a double. Keeps the dribble alive. All the way to the hoop. Scoop to the hoop with a ball. In the neighborhood of his uniform number. But we ain't far away from it.
The game ended in a 148-143 victory, with Doncic scoring almost half of his team's points in the highest scoring non-overtime game of the season.
And then Wilt Chamberlain twice scored 73.
Luka tied 4th place in the all-time scoring record in NBA history, behind only Wilt Chamberlain, David Thompson, and Kobe Bryant. Not to mention, Doncic's performance was the most accurate 70-plus point performance in NBA history, going 25 of 33 from the field, 8 of 13 from deep, and 15 of 16 from the free throw line. Not to mention, a near triple-double, with 7 assists and 10 rebounds. Despite lackluster Atlanta defense, this game summed up the offensive genius of Luka. And after Doncic and Booker's dominant display, it would be just over a week until Steph Curry put up a monster game of his own, with the Hawks again being the victims of a masterful
Matthews
offensive
could do is swipe down,
Shot it long, ricochets out to Steph, barely in his hands and right.
Despite a rather usual first quarter performance with 8 points and not scoring another field goal before the mid-stages of the second quarter. But when Chef Curry soon got cooking from deep,
Sidestep 3, come on! Curry cutting back door to lay it up and in for Jalen Johnson. He just goes to the other side. It's the reason Atlanta having the lead. Steph is 3 for 12. He's fouled!
After again scoring double digits in the third, he would end the third quarter with 38 points. And we all know how good fourth quarter Steph is.
In amongst the trees to lay it up and in. Working. Chance to tie midway through the fourth or take the lead. Curry! Answer!
As for the game, it was a close back-and-forth game for the most part, with Trae Young also putting on a clinic on the other end. And the final quarter was more of a duel between him and Trae Young more than anything else.
Curry off the handoff, step back three, good! Steph splits the double team. Curry on a runner, good!
And although Steph's floater was a near game winner, Murray's shot on the other end spoiled the party.
Midcourt, Jalen's on it. Steph gets up.
The game would eventually be tied up at the end of the fourth, going to overtime.
Steph another three. Why not? February they'd be 8-0. He has 20 tonight. Curry
and Trae would lead the Hawks to a win over the Dubs. Despite a one-man wrecking ball in Steph Curry, the Hawks managed to clinch the victory. Steph ended the game going 22 of 38 from the field and 10 of 23 from deep. Although not a clinic of accuracy, Steph had to make up for the lack of offense from his teammates. However, was still unable to get his team over the line in the end. The most recent 61-point performance, over a month after Steph's display, was one of the harder to predict 60-point displays a couple years ago, with Jalen Brunson putting up a monster 61 points against the San Antonio Spurs. Dueling with the rookie Victor Wembanyama, the two went head-to-head in an incredible outing. Brunson started the game strong, scoring double digits in the first quarter.
Brunson, who fakes the pass, now dribbles, gets inside in the paint, puts up the jumper, shot is good.
See, but he couldn't go back up because of Wembanyama.
Does he has his moments where he's a young rookie in the NBA. Brunson, momentum. Brunson again goes at Sohan, pulls up, jump shot, bounces good. Brunson, the fake, the drive, and the finish.
And after the half, he had 21. But it was the third quarter where he really got going.
Brunson drives, pulls up, jump shot's good. Brunson goes the other way.
Good defense by Osman. Back door's open.
Brunson gets inside. Percentage shot. It's incredible, even when somebody's on him. Brunson, three-pointer. Puts out with 28. Earlier in the year, Brunson drives, off balance, bank shot won't go. Gets his rebound, back up with 5 to shoot. Off the bounce, pull up, jump shot. It's good.
Brunson, feline quickness, K9 attitude.
Step back three, bang! Jalen Brunson from downtown. Brunson drives, left-handed layup, bangs it. Finds Brunson, cuts back door, layup is up.
After dropping 24 in the third, he had 45 going into the final quarter, despite facing a deficit going into the final quarter. Because there was just one problem for Brunson and the Knicks. There was an alien on the opposition team. Placing his team on his back, Jalen Brunson clawed the Knicks back into the game, closing a significant deficit in the fourth quarter. However, the Wemby-led team did enough to level things up at the end of the fourth, sending the game into overtime with Brunson sitting on 59 points. Despite his elite display, Brunson drew significant attention in overtime as he began to tire, only scoring 1 bucket in OT as the Wemby-led team came home with the victory.
Wemby fires for 3.
Got it! Oh, Mama Wembenyama!
After the game, commenting on his performance, he said it was great but went out the window with the loss, so he claimed it didn't really matter. But still, Brunson solidified the second highest Knicks single-game point performance, behind only Carmelo, but still achieving his career high. And despite reaching over 60 points in 47 shot attempts, he achieved something very few NBA players achieve in their careers. Anyways, that's it for the video. Although 4 out of 7 60-plus point performances this season were losses, it still sums up the offensive burst in the NBA that does not seem to be stopping anytime soon. Thanks for watching SportsSphere. What was your favorite 60-plus point performance this season? Please let us know in the comments below. See you in the next video.